Good to see you all. Before I begin, I want to thank Dr. Arvind Nima, the director in charge here, the Indian Institute of Technology, and of course, Professor Anil Verma, the Dean of International Relations. I also want to commend IIT Delhi, the faculty, for all the incredible work you do. As I've traveled across India, it's been amazing visiting some of these IIT institutions and meeting some of the brightest individuals in this institutional faculty. So I'm also delighted to be joined by Under Secretary of State for Public Diplomacy, Sarah Rogers. Sarah, if you can stand up. And later on, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a preview. I'm actually going to call up Sarah here to give you a few words also, because she comes from an incredible background. She's doing an incredible job. She's one of the Secretary of State's most trusted individuals. And so we're honored that she's here for about a 24-hour visit. And so we're very thrilled with that. She truly underscores the importance the United States places on the future of U.S.-India relations and this great partnership. Since I arrived here about 5 months ago, one of the priorities for us has been bringing individuals at the highest level of our government. And just 48 hours ago, the Secretary of State wrapped an incredible visit here after 4 days. It was his first trip to India. And it was a very substantial visit for the Secretary. Not only did he get to visit incredible historical and cultural sites, we had a quad meeting. He met with the Prime Minister. He met with the Minister of External Affairs. He met with the NSA. And so there was quite a few deliverables, including on critical minerals, including on enhanced security cooperation. And those are goals that we want to achieve and get across the finish line, is bring individuals from our government at the highest levels, have them connect with individuals here, and identify those win-win situations. So it's an immense privilege to stand before you this afternoon here in New Delhi. When I look out across this room, I do not just see the research leaders of today, I also see the architects of tomorrow. As I've been to other IIT campuses, I've experienced firsthand and witnessed the innovation that is developing, that is shaping, that we get to see behind these closed doors, but that the world will see over the next 2, 5, and 10 years. And some of it, I would venture to say, is life-changing. So identifying those opportunities and, again, connecting them with sides on the United States is an incredible privilege being here. We're gathered at a defining moment. One, where critical and emerging technologies are fundamentally reshaping the global balance of power. And I believe no partnership is better positioned to lead that charge than ours. At the same time of this immense transformation, I want us to be ambitious and shape the U.S.-India relationship into the defining strategic partnership of the 21st century, one that delivers tangible benefits for both of our nations and our people. When President Trump came into office recently, a year and a half ago, one of the things that the United States took an account of is, where is the world heading? And for too long, those centers of power have stayed in places that have frankly become outdated. One of the things this administration has done is identify new centers of power. To me, to the President, to the administration, the importance of India is now. It's not stuck in other places. It's not stuck in past societies. We realize the potential that India has. We see the growth that India has, not only economically, but strategically to the world. And it's an area where we have identified, where we are growing, where we're enhancing this partnership. And it's one of the goals that this president has from the White House. In President Trump's second term, just weeks into it in February, I was actually there, Prime Minister Modi and the President launched what is known as a Transforming the Relationship Utilizing Strategic Technologies, or simply known as TRUST. This initiative was launched when the Prime Minister visited us in Washington, D.C. at the White House. They agreed to promote government-to-government, academia, and private sector collaboration in critical and emerging technologies: defense, artificial intelligence, semiconductors, quantum computing, biotechnology, energy, and space. Their goal was clear: encourage innovation with our most trusted partners while ensuring sensitive technologies are protected. This is something that's not expanded to everyone around the world. When you look at the initiatives that the United States is expanding, is offering, is looking to partner with, we're looking at individuals that frankly are trusted. And India is one of those partners. Today I want to share with you what we've achieved in just over a year, because trust isn't just a framework, it's delivering real results. Let's first talk about artificial intelligence. Let me start with that. The first pillar of trust, and it's an ambitious undertaking that will shape the future of the world. We committed to developing a US-India AI infrastructure roadmap, identifying constraints to financing, to building, powering, connecting large-scale US origin AI infrastructure here in India. Since then, the Department of Commerce has taken measures to restore the flow of advanced AI chips to our partners around the world when they rescinded the AI diffusion rule. As part of the roadmap, we identified with industry and both governments changes to improve the regulatory environment to build data centers right here in India. These will be a key as we look ahead to building in India. And we're not just talking about items that we have changed on paper. We're seeing real results. We're seeing real American investment here and vice versa. For example, Amazon expects to invest $35 billion into India by 2030 to advance AI-driven digitization, export growth, and job creation. Microsoft announced a $17.5 billion investment here in India, including the expansion of hyperscale cloud infrastructure. And just last month, Google broke ground on a subsea cable landing terminal, which is valued at about $15 billion. These are incredible things that we have seen just from a handful of companies. Every week we have individuals that show up to the embassy and they ask, is it safe to invest in India? Is this somewhere we can partner with? And our answer to them is yes. It's not an answer we give around the world. We're seeing this incredible innovation come here because it's welcome. You have a government that is forward-leaning, that has cut and changed rules to accommodate these giant tech companies that we have appreciated in the United States that are now looking to expand in trusted territories such as India. In February, India hosted the Global AI Impact Summit. The United States showed strong support with a large delegation. At the summit, we announced the US AI Exports Program, TechCore, National Champions Initiative, and the AI Agent Standards Initiative. At the summit, Undersecretary Helberg and I officially welcomed India into Pax Silica, making India one of the first 10 trusted countries that were invited to join. As soon as that announcement happened, within 2 weeks, we had interest from 60 other countries that have asked us to join Pax Silica. The reason India was in the first top 10 countries around the world to join this is because we trust this place. We trust the people here, we trust the technology, we trust your government. It's a partnership that we're willing to build on. India is joining a network of trusted ecosystems and resilient supply chains for the technologies that will define the future, from artificial intelligence to semiconductors and quantum computing. Our joint statement on the US-India AI partnership reaffirmed our shared vision for our innovation ecosystems. We agreed to adapt regulatory regimes that advance technological innovation and promote investment, deepen cooperation under the Pax Silica framework to support the supply chains of tomorrow, and foster an environment where the AI revolution is driven by the creative power of the private sector. Trust is also transforming supply chains that directly impact human health and security. Last year, the leaders agreed to encourage public and private investment to expand manufacturing capacity in India and in the US for active pharmaceutical ingredients and for critical medicines. We delivered, and India delivered in a big way. I'll share two things with you. On pharmaceuticals, we import close to 40% of our generics from India. There's a reason the United States does that. It is because we trust India. These are critical, literally life-saving ingredients that are needed in the United States. It's happening here, not in other places around the world, because of that trust. We also delivered in another big way. Every embassy gets to compete in bringing investments back home. And for us, the win-win situation is identifying both ways, investments that come here and investments that come home. And I was proud that our embassy here in Mission India, in Delhi, in our consulates, delivered in a substantial way. We came in first in the world with $20.5 billion announced in new investments for the next year just from India alone. $19 billion in investments of that actually is pharmaceutical related also. So once again, it's the reaffirming of the trust on key ingredients and key components. These Indian companies see the potential in the US market, the opportunities to innovate and return on the investment of their shareholders. This isn't just about economics. It's also about de-risking global supply chains and preventing the kind of medicine shortages that put lives in risks. My team members from 6 different US government agencies came together to discuss with Indian companies onshoring and supply chain resilience. Listening to industry needs, we stood up a US government India Pharmaceutical CEO task force that is working on a data gap supply chain mapping exercise. We want to work with industry, so both of our countries have the pharmaceuticals they need. Health research collaboration is equally promising. Indian officials visited multiple US universities and health tech companies to see US-India biomedical research collaboration in action. We're now working to set up new fellowships. University of Oklahoma recently signed an agreement with the Indian Council of Medical Research for tech collaboration on a promising cervical cancer treatment. This is what trust looks like in practice. Investments that create jobs, research that saves lives, and supply chains that enhance security for both of our nations. While we're strengthening supply chains here on Earth, we're also reaching new heights, literally in space. The cosmos has always been an ultimate proving ground for human capability. And over the past year, the United States and India proved that we belong side by side. The successful launch of the NASA-ISRO synthetic radar mission, NISAR, demonstrated how countries are leading together in Earth observation and advanced space technology. This $1.5 billion investment, the largest bilateral space initiative to date, has revolutionized global mapping of ice and land, supporting a broad range of Earth science. Through the Axiom 4 mission, India sent an astronaut to space for the first time since 1984. This time through the collaboration with NASA, ISRO, Axiom Space, and SpaceX. The NASA-ISRO Strategic Framework for Human Spaceflight Cooperation, signed in 2025, made this possible, with ISRO astronauts receiving training at NASA's Johnson Space Center, and there's more ahead. As a signatory of the Artemis Accords, we've invited India to join us in accelerating humanity's return to the moon, and this time to maintain a sustained presence. When the United States leads, we invite trusted partners. We have seen over the last year and a half that India is that trusted partner. It's something that we look to build upon. The United States and India maintain one of the world's most dynamic bilateral space partnerships, spanning both civil and commercial sectors. Our cooperation holds strategic importance. It addresses emerging threats, advances peaceful use of space, provides counterbalance to China's influence, and drives technological innovation and economic growth. India's commercial space sector has grown significantly, with ISRO launching 233 satellites with US companies over the last 20 years. India's recent announcement of plans to launch 50 new satellites, representing a $2.8 billion investment, creates new opportunities for US space firms. India's 2024 Foreign Direct Investment Guidelines now permit up to 100% FDI in the space sector here, further expanding opportunities for US companies to fuel India's growth. The space connections between our two countries and government seem to know no bounds. And once again, it'll be an item that is a priority for us, for Embassy, and my entire team. These achievements across AI, pharmaceuticals, and space are built on a foundation of deep research collaboration, the kind that happens in institutions like IIT Delhi. Through the US-India Science and Technology Endowment Fund, we support over 20 projects with binational research teams, bringing the latest advancements in technologies like AI, quantum, advanced materials, and critical minerals processing into practical use. Also under trust, we held last August a US-India Advanced Materials R&D Forum in Washington, along the American Chemical Society's annual summit, and in collaboration with the Office of the Principal Scientific Advisor of the Government of India. We brought together leading researchers, industry partners, and government officials to chart the path forward. Let me address something critical, and that is the progress on trust. The IBM Andhra Pradesh Quantum Valley Initiative indicates the growing ambition and maturity of the US-India technology relationship and highlights the strategic importance of trusted collaboration in advanced technologies. There is still work to do, and we are doing it. Every single month we have meetings on these items. When Secretary Rubio was here, this is one of the items that was actually raised by the government of India, and it's an area where we look to collaborate and make further progress on. For technologies critical to national securities, the way we manage export controls directly shapes our ability to build trusted technology partnerships. The United States has been actively recalibrating our export control policies to reflect the current technological and geopolitical landscape and balance legitimate security concerns with enabling commerce and innovation. We genuinely appreciate the steps India has taken on export control modernization, including updates to India's SCOMET framework in 2025 relating especially to quantum technologies. When both of our countries have strong, aligned export control regimes, it creates the foundation for deeper technological cooperation. Let me quickly touch on critical minerals. Critical minerals touch on nearly all of these efforts in emerging technologies. They're also essential for defense technologies and enable the energy systems that power our economies. Last year, our leaders agreed to accelerate collaboration in research and development and promote investment across the entire critical mineral value chain, as well as deepen cooperation in exploration, processing, and recycling. Since then, India launched its National Critical Minerals Mission. In February, Secretary Rubio hosted the Forum on Resource Geostrategic Engagement, known as FORGE, with representatives from 54 countries and the EU Commission, including Minister Jay Shankar on his travel to Washington. As both our countries pursue domestic efforts to attract investments for mining, processing, refining, and recycling, we each contribute to a more globally diversified and secure market. Through scientific exchanges, such as recently hosted by IIT Roorkee, we're bringing our researchers together to exchange knowledge on respective research, as well as engaging students in both countries to develop the next generation to lead the technological advances. We're already convening our experts under the Strategic Minerals Recovery Initiative announced in 2025 by our leaders. Our constant conversations ensure that each side develops projects that are commercially viable to all of us. All of this amazing collaboration through trust is part of the US-India growth story, and I want each one of you to be part of it. I want to step back and look at the broader economic relationship. Think about this. In just over 2 decades, bilateral trade has grown from 20 billion to over 220 billion in goods and services. That's not just volume. It reflects deeper, broader engagement and stronger economic integration. Our investment and trade expansion offers transformative potential. President Trump's goal is to facilitate bilateral trade in a way that creates unprecedented opportunities for American businesses and workers. Our current interim trade agreement is on the table for us to finalize, and that will unlock prosperity for both of our countries. Just last week, India had sent a team to Washington, D.C. to finalize the last 1% of that trade deal. Next week, we will welcome a U.S. delegation here to continue those talks. We fully expect that the trade deal will be signed over the next few weeks and months. Today, the United States is one of India's largest trading partners, and India is among the top trading partners of the United States. Importantly, this growth is increasingly driven by innovation, investment, and high-value sectors, from digital trade and advanced manufacturing to energy and emerging technologies, linking not just large corporations, but also startups and entrepreneurs. Before I wrap up, I do want to call up my friend here because it's a unique opportunity here, and we're very lucky to have Undersecretary Sarah Rogers. Sarah is visiting us literally for about 24 hours before continuing her travels to Nepal and Uzbekistan. So if you will join me in welcoming, just for a brief moment and indulge me, please welcome Undersecretary for Public Diplomacy, Sarah Rogers.
Thank you, Sergio, and thanks to everyone for being here today. A fact that really underscores the importance of this rising alliance and trade partnership is that President Trump sent you one of his best and most trusted friends to be our face and our representative in India. So I'm very lucky to be hosted here today by Ambassador Gor, and I cannot think of a better emissary for our interests in your country. I'm the Undersecretary for Public Diplomacy, which means I have a unique diplomatic mission. Most diplomacy concerns the relationship between the American government and foreign governments. To ambassadors shake hands, strike a minerals deal, or end a war. Public diplomacy is different. I am charged with maintaining and pursuing a diplomatic relationship between the American government and the foreign public. And that makes me especially happy and lucky to be in India. Because although President Trump has a great relationship with Modi, and although our government loves your government, the American public also loves the Indian public, and with good reason. There are so many of you. The Indian youth population alone exceeds the entire population of the United States. And that's because India isn't afraid of growth, and it isn't afraid of the future. Whether we're talking about civil nuclear or quantum or AI, this is a region of the world, and this is a rising power that wants to race ahead and wants to race ahead with us. And in America, we're very appreciative of that, and I'm very appreciative of that. We stand at the precipice of a new foreign policy order. After World War II, the industrialized world felt divided between East and West, between communism and freedom, NATO and the USSR. And the United States and its Western allies won a lot of those battles, both military, strategic, and economic, and the foreign policy order changed. And we're very lucky to have Secretary Rubio and President Trump to help us navigate the new one. And on the new map, we see new rising powers and new regions defining themselves. The Indo-Pacific is one of those, and I don't think we could be luckier than we are to have a partner like India in a critical region like this, with whom we can pursue secure, trusted research at the cutting edge of tech and pharmaceuticals, with whom we can pursue mutually beneficial trade relationships and mutually beneficial exchanges of top talent. So I won't take much more of your time, but I'm happy to have had the chance to come up for a bit. And another round of applause, please, for Ambassador Gor.
Thank you, Sarah. The message that we want to send to everybody here and across the country is the United States is paying attention. The United States is involved, and the United States comes to India with an open hand. And day after day, week after week, individuals like Secretary Rubio, like Undersecretary Sarah Rogers are here. They're here because we care. They're here because we want to work with you. We want to grow this partnership. So where do we go from here? Even with this progress, we're only beginning to realize the full potential of this partnership. There are significant opportunities ahead to scale it into a more seamless, resilient, and transformative economic relationship. India's growing economy and significant infrastructure needs align well with American expertise in energy, aviation, R&D, advanced manufacturing, and digital infrastructure. We need to deepen research partnerships. The work happening in labs and classrooms at institutions like IIT Delhi is the foundation of everything I've described today. We need more joint research projects, more faculty working together, more graduate students solving problems that matter to both of our countries, and accelerated pathways to commercialization. We need to develop new pathways for cooperation. They open up. For instance, India is working on implementing rules and regulations for private sector participation in the civil nuclear sector. This could open new areas of cooperation in traditional nuclear power reactors, small modular reactors, and others associated technologies, as well as nuclear medicine. We need to expand government-industry dialogues across all trust pillars, like we had for the AI infrastructure roadmap. Replicating that model for advanced quantum, biotechnology materials, and critical minerals would make policy more responsive to the industry needs. Let me leave you with some questions. How can IIT Delhi and other leading Indian research institutions deepen collaboration with U.S. universities and national laboratories? What opportunities exist for students and faculty to engage in joint research projects under trust? How do we create pathways for the innovations developed here to reach markets and solve real-world problems? What other areas of collaboration should we be exploring that we haven't yet considered? I trust that you will all agree with me that there are no two nations better positioned than ours to combine strengths and place our people at the center of technological transformation. Let us work together to make the US-India partnership the defining relationship of the 21st century. I look forward to hearing your ideas and working together to realize the limitless potential of this partnership. At my embassy, you will find a willing partner. At our White House, you will find a friend in the Oval Office. And together, our two countries will achieve things that we've only dreamed of in the past. Thank you.